Good afternoon. It's Saturday, October 1st. This is the day after Hurricane Ian blew through eastern North Carolina. And again, because we were north of the storm, we really didn't get that much of any sort of significant weather that would damage anything, thankfully. South Carolina, they got beat up, and Florida really got the you-know-what beat out of them. It was bad. So, but again, we had some weather come through here, 40-mile-per-hour sustained winds at times, 7.5 inches of rain, which is considerable. And let's take a quick walk around and look at some things and go over some of the stuff that I talked about in the previous video that I did on Friday, September 30th, where I was talking about the drainage and the rain and the puddles. Let's just go take a walk. Now, if you watched Friday's video, you would have seen that here in the flood garden there was a lot of water. Well, there's not that much water anymore. There is still a lot of water. Ooh, I'm getting some serious glare off the greenhouse. Hold on. There is still some water here in the rose garden itself, but as I said, the purpose of the drain holes was to help with the drainage, and it appears that it has done so, which is good. Again, it's going to take some time, and there's only a few holes drilled here, but it is a lot better than it had been in previous storms. My bamboo fencing has sort of failed me. I'm going to have to get rid of that. But as you can see behind the rose garden, in the alleyway that I've left between the wood line and the rose garden, it is still flooded. It is still quite flooded. This is going to take time, and I'm going to have to drill more holes to help with the drainage, but it's definitely an improvement, especially over back behind the rose garden there. Back here by my neighbor's house, that is still significantly flooded. I don't know if that's coming up in the camera there, and I'm trying not to show her house out of privacy. But yeah, in time I may want to do some drain holes back here as well. Let's take a closer look. Okay, let's go take a look around a few other things here in the garden. For instance, this peach tree. I think the winds gave it a good knocking, but it is still alive. And again, we're getting towards the end of the season, so it'll probably wind up losing its leaves, and then new leaves will come out in the springtime. The important thing is it's alive. Fig tree here has some yellowing leaves. I can only presume that's because there's a little too much water. All around the fig tree was a giant puddle yesterday. So what I think I'm going to do, again in the near future, probably over the course of the winter, is drill more drainage holes, fill them up with material, again, either the bark, because I have some of that soil improver, which is really just bark chips, or I'll do the sand and pebble combo. Anything that won't get compacted, because once it gets compacted, then you're just going to right back into the same place. But you want to add, if you can, organic material to the soil to allow that drainage. If you add in the sand and the stone, they won't compact. That'll allow the drainage. And yeah, then everything will be happier. But everything's gotten a good watering now at 7.5 inches. And some of these Mexican sunflowers got beat up a little bit. Again, it's a sustained winds, but nothing as bad as some of the again, Florida or South Carolina, Georgia. So again, here's some more of the Mexican sunflowers. Now these were already on sort of their last legs, so I'm just going to go through and I'll probably cut out a lot of the dead stuff and do some deadheading, and hopefully I can get a few more weeks out of these. Also, a lot of the vegetable garden is pretty worn, tired, beat up. It's been rocking all season. Tomatoes, basil. I'm going to start taking stuff out. There's going to be a lot of veg garden cleanup. So maybe this will be in Monday's video. We'll see. But I'm going to start cleaning up the veg garden, and I'm going to start planting out some more winter crops, lettuces, cabbage, radishes, things that I like to enjoy eating. And yeah, if you guys have any suggestions of maybe a winter crop that I should plant, something that may do well down here in growing zone 8A, please leave a comment below. In the meantime, I think I'm going to just get to work here. Good afternoon. It's Sunday, and I'm planting up some radishes here. One is Scarlet Globe, the other one is German Giant. These are both old seeds, so I'm going to oversaturate the area and see what comes up. If only some of the seeds come up, great. If none of the seeds come up, well, then I'll find out shortly, because radish don't take that long to not pop up. They come up pretty quickly. They grow in about 30 days. So I oversaturated with radishes. Again, this is old seed, so if it comes up, great. And then I'll have lots of radish. And then I can move on to the newer seeds. Let's move on to the next project. Okay, I didn't film it. Sorry, forgot. Got carried away with work. But I mulched up a lot of this dahlia bed. I still have a little bit to go along the edges, but I have a bunch of those boxwoods, if you remember, that still need planting out. So I'll be putting them along here, and then I'll finish the mulching. Plus, once we get our first frost, this lemongrass will all die back. So I'll be ripping that out, and I still haven't decided what I'm going to do along the entrance here, where I have the two clumps of lemongrass. So if you have any ideas whether I should do box or something else, please let me know below in the comments. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do for today is turn around and start weeding these flower beds, because I kind of let them get a little out of control. So let me get to work with that. Morning. It's Monday. It's another gray, cloudy. It's a very cool day today here in eastern North Carolina. I think the temperature's only supposed to get to 60-ish. And just like Saturday and Sunday, there's just going to be a few things that I want to do today. And one of them is putting compost down in the orchard. So let me get some tools, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that compost. Okay. I have my super heavy duty pitchfork, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that in a second. But nothing super big today. I should be taking more advantage of the cool weather, but I have other things to be doing, but I do want to get this thing done here in the garden. So now let me show you. Fig tree. And what I'm going to do with the fig tree is, or the pitchfork is, I'm going to punch a bunch of holes all around it. And the reason for this is to help aerate the soil, and also to give the compost a way to get into the ground. Now, you could do this with a tiller and, dig like a whole thing around it. It's a lot of work and money and noise and whatnot. But if I take this and try to break up and loosen up the soil all around the fig tree, where it was flooding the other day when we had all that rain from Hurricane Ian, and by flooding I just mean it's puddling, but that'll also allow water to get into the ground quicker, as opposed to sitting on the very compacted topsoil, and also allow the compost that I'm going to be bringing out here in a second to fall into those holes. And again, all this will work to improve the soil and then allow the soil around the fig tree to drain faster, so that maybe the fig tree leaves won't yellow as much. Which could be a side effect of also it being fall, but I think it got a little too much water the other day when it rained. So if I'm wrong about that, please leave a comment below. I'm not a fig tree expert by far. My wife just said she wanted a fig tree, and we were at the nursery, so I grabbed the fig tree and I planted it. I should learn more about fig trees. If you guys know any good resources about growing fig trees, please let me know again in the comments below. You guys want to see something crazy? Check this out. There were fire ants in the compost. So I'm going to have to be really careful when I spread this. Yeah, I don't know if you could tell here. on the compost, but I don't know if it's going to come out in video, but you can definitely see them here on the wheelbarrow. They're just crawling everywhere. So they're in the compost bin, and yeah, they're fire ants. So again, I gotta be really careful when I'm spreading this. Okay, so it's all done. It looks like a bit of a hot mess, and that's because it is. If we get subsequent rain over the next week or so, that'll help wash some of the compost in. There's all sorts of beetles, and of course there's the ants and other critters in there. They'll help actually draw some of that compost into the ground. Of course, the aeration that I did around the perimeter here will help. This is not a one fix, one shot cure all. If I wanted that, I'd probably do the rototilling, but but I can come back during the course of the winter because I have a lot of green material right now rotting. I do have still quite a few wood chips over here that I could use to add to the ground, and of course all of this will help add organic matter to the ground. And if I can get Mother Nature to do some of the work, or most of the work, by again drawing this good stuff into the ground. There are earthworms in this hard compacted ground, believe it or not. I can't believe it, but I have seen them. So they'll still love the nutrient rich compost that I'm putting down, and again they'll start cycling it through, and the more they do their earthwormy things and poop in the ground, it'll just help improve all of this. And again, this is all part of improving the ground, improving the soil over the course of time. Now there is one more spot I want to hit. Let me show you that now. This is my Gala apple tree. Many of you remembered I planted this out back in January. It's been doing quite well. I had it tied up for a little while and then the ties broke, but it's holding up. It's a little bendy, twisty, but that's okay. Maybe I'll try to work on straightening it out next spring. I don't know. Maybe I like a bendy, twisty tree. But the ground around it, even though the tree is raised, the ground around it does get a little floody. Plus, as the tree matures, it's going to want to send its roots out. And if it's trying to send its roots out into the hard, compacted clay crap soil that's beneath my feet here, it's not going to be happy. So again, I'm going to do the whole aeration thing around the perimeter. I'll put down a good bunch of compost, and yeah, and then we'll go from there. All right, there you go. Compost placed all around the tree. Again, I aerated before that, so maybe some of the compost will fall into the holes. I will probably come back in the winter time and then again early spring just to basically reapply, do the same method again, little aeration, compost. The ground will absorb it all. It'll start to get softer and softer. Again, hopefully the insects, the critters, the worms and whatnot, again, start drawing that deeper into the ground. That'll all help. And of course, it's nutrient for the plant, because you dig down a couple of feet and there's not a lot of nutrients because it's pretty heavy clay. But there's still some in there. There's iron and whatnot, but there's not the organic material that a lot of plants need. And when you get down to something like the clay or a heavy silt, fungus really doesn't do well there, and if fungus doesn't grow, then your plant may not grow as healthy and happy. It's a whole science thing, and I don't understand a lot of it, and I'm trying to figure it all out myself. But if you look it up, fungus in the soil on YouTube, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people out there who can explain it a lot better than me. Even though it's only like 60 degrees, I still got a bit of a sweat going on, getting all that compost out of the bins. And again, I'm going to try to empty. That's the row of bins I have in the back of the, not behind the garage exactly, but at the end of the driveway, sort of. I've had them there since last year. If you haven't seen them, go back, watch my other videos. I'm basically going to try to empty them, and I think I'm going to move those series of bins maybe into the vegetable garden themselves. Now, I also have the new bins that I put behind the garage, but I think I'm going to maybe, in time, use that for bulkier material, and then save the smaller bins for stuff in the veg garden. I'll figure it all out as time goes on, but there are changes coming to the vegetable garden. There are changes coming to the flower garden. There's so much more to see. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Click that bell icon to be notified of when I do post up a new video. If you'd like to support the channel, please go get yourself a Growing Green Finger t-shirt. I have several different varieties and styles. Again, if you go to growinggreenfinger.com, or if you check out the links below this video, you'll see the links for all of that and more. Yeah, I think that's going to about do it for today. You don't follow me on Instagram, give it a follow on Instagram, because I often post up pictures there you won't see here on YouTube. I haven't said that in a while, have you? Nor have I said, please tell your friends, families, loved ones, and grumpy old guy across the street about my channel. The more we grow, the more subscribers we get. The more subscribers we get, the better for everybody. So again, hit that subscribe button. That's going to do it for today. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.